Tonight on PhillyCAM Voices, we have a segment produced by the fellows in the PhillyCAM Community Mentorship Program, along with an in-studio interview with our guest, local filmmaker, Bilal Motley. The Community Media Mentorship Program is a 6-month-long program where participants receive training in media production and build a portfolio of journalistic video pieces produced for television. Good evening, and thanks for tuning into PhillyCAM Voices. I'm your host, Shanayah Wyche. Hello. Philly is a city of influence and is also no stranger to art collectives. In the past years, art collectives have begun to spring up in numbers in the city of brotherly love, and in every sense of the word, they are bringing in a new age of artistic expression. In this segment, we will be highlighting Art Album, an organization where artists can create, connect, and grow. In the boroughs of Philly, diversity and creativity paint the streets with graffiti markings on abandoned train stops, murals on residential buildings, and anonymous graphic stickers in alleyways. Philly is a city of influence and is also no stranger to art collectives. Over the past few years, art collectives have begun to spring up in numbers in the city of brotherly love, and in every sense of the word, they are bringing in a new age of artistic expression. One collective by the name of Art Album has been steadily growing a presence in Philadelphia. Started in 2018, Art Album has been a local organization that's like a second family to most artists who join. It's a place where artists can connect, create, and grow. I got the chance to sit down with one of the co-founders and owners, Eric Wright, to learn more about the collective and how they seek to build community through creativity.
So my name is Eric Wright. I am co-founder/owner of Art Album. I kind of talked with Gael about the idea of Art Album, and we need something that kind of focuses in on the artists as just the artists, and help them just achieve different stuff within the scene. So we went from there. We just started busting ideas. We got the paperwork necessary that we needed to get done to do official business. From there, we just went from there, started doing little shows out of houses, really, for about 2-3 years. And then, we got the studio space out back in like January. So, it's been good. So, we're very much big on the artists just connecting with each other on a human level, and actually not trying to just always just work and, just be business minded, but actually just connect with each other and build human relationships that, you don't really get, and just try to give artists opportunity.
Our album curates events that not only allow individuals to showcase their artistry, but provides a space for valuing a movement over money, valuing community connection. This is a mission they want to foster in Philadelphia and beyond.
With the city, we definitely want to be like, eventually just grow, get a bigger building, so that we can be able to do more stuff with the artists, give them more opportunities. We're working on doing stuff that's like outside of the city that can potentially like give artists more opportunities, and just connect with different art scenes in different cities. So like we're working on like different tours that artists can be a part of that can get their work outside of Philly. So definitely the long-term goals of ours is definitely like doing more outside work of outside of Philly, and working with different like art collectives. Also, while still working on stuff in the city and still doing art shows and creating opportunities here also. So
arts and culture is the backbone of Philly's character and is an economic driver for the city. Art collectives that are predominantly led by the people who make up the city should have the same opportunities at growing as other large institutions. With the Philadelphia Office of Arts and Culture creative economy budget already being low, it leaves smaller initiatives with little options for financial and practical resources. Just this past budget cycle, the Philadelphia Cultural Fund saw a proposal cut for $1 million.
The city definitely needs to. I think it would be a cool thing if the city could set up a space where a lot of the smaller art collectives, art businesses could set up shop at. I feel like that would be, maybe if it's like a community center or something where artists can, or small businesses can set up shop at and do business out of.
There's so much funding that should and needs to be allocated to all cultural organizations, parks and rec, education, and more that supports positive community development. Until then, collectives like Art Album will continue their mission of community building through art. To learn more about Art Album, follow them on Instagram. You can also see their current list of board members here. I'm Shanayah, signing off on another PhillyCAM Voices.
Great story. Great story. Our next story revolves around our in-studio guest tonight, Bilal Motley. Bilal is a writer, producer, and actor from Greater Philadelphia. As a filmmaker, he aligns with films that explore class and race. Bilal co-directed a short film called Quarantine Kids with his daughter, Bria. The film was an official selection in the 2022 Black Star Film Festival here in Philadelphia, where it won the Love and Grit Philadelphia Filmmaker Award. Thank you so much for joining us today, Bilal. And I do want to say I am sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thanks, Shanayah. Appreciate it. Thank you. Glad to be here.
I kind of wanted to begin by asking you about your journey as a filmmaker. I know that there's no clear path to becoming a filmmaker, so I'm curious about what inspires you to do this work and what path you took to get here.
Wow. It's been a long road. It's wow. So my dad is an artist. My dad's a painter. Like I remember growing up in Mississippi and Texas, mostly before we moved up north, my dad had all these paintings of African kings and things like that. Like my dad was that dude, and he was winning competitions in Dallas and things like that. And my mom was like Etsy before Etsy. Like she would make her classmates prom dresses. Like she could do curtains, and she was brilliant. And yeah, she passed away when I was 6. We were living in we were in Mississippi at the time in 1987, and yeah, so it's something that was always there, no matter what else I was doing. Like I was a big athlete in Chester High School, 13 miles south of Philly, and I was a top 400-meter runner in the country. I was on one of the top basketball teams in the country, and it was something that was always there. You know what I mean? Like everybody's projecting on me, oh, you're going to be the next Michael Johnson, Carl Lewis, or whatever. But I walked into my coach's office in 1999 at the University of Connecticut, and I said, I can't do this. Like, I want to be, I knew there was an artist in there somewhere, but I didn't know what type. So I told my coach, I said, I want to be a comedian on SNL. And so I'm the top recruit one of the top recruits in the country. He built that program around me, and I was a freshman. And I said, I can't do this anymore. So I started doing stand-up comedy in New York at the Comic Strip Live, like mostly open mic stuff. So it was a rough road to get to where I am now. That didn't really work out. And then I moved back home from Connecticut, back to Pennsylvania, and was doing comedy there, South Street, things like that. And then long story short, I started working at a oil refinery in South Philly, and I kind of buried those dreams. And it wasn't until I met my good friend, Bettina Escariza. We met at the Scribe Video Center. Like we were taking a screenwriting intensive class, that I started to awaken those dreams that I had. I was much older now. But I just said, I have to just keep trying. It's something, no matter what you do, you try to bury it. I was making a lot of money at the oil refinery in South Philly, but I couldn't bury what was inside of me. So yeah, so it's been a long journey. It's really clunky. So that's why this current film, Quarantine Kids, which my daughter was 9 at the time when she co-directed it with me, she can at least have the tools early, so she doesn't struggle like I did to get there. If she wants to do that, it's all on her. I tell her all the time, if you want to continue with this, at least you have the tools. So yeah, that's my journey. So.
And that's amazing to know that from your family, from your childhood experience, this has always been something that's been your passion, has been in your heart. And I kind of want to just briefly talk about your time at the oil refinery, because that was one of your first feature documentaries, was regarding the explosion of the refinery and them, trying to keep it there, but it was causing issues for the community. And I noticed that the style with these two documentaries is that it's very personal, and really getting the firsthand voice from the person that it's impacting. And so, why do you decide to go for that type of documentary style, and what is your what draws you to that type of documentary style?
For years, about the time I met Bettina Escariza, my friend, filmmaker, I spent years trying to be a screenwriter and trying to get wait for someone to allow me to make something, right? Like I was writing these scripts, submitting it to all the big fellowships in the country and the world. And I just got tired of it. So when when the refinery blew up in 2019 in June, I didn't know what I was doing. I was mostly a screenwriter. So I just picked up my camera, and with the advice of my friend Bettina and Dan Papa, who produced it, I just started speaking into the camera, start telling the truth, the only way I knew how. And I just had to figure out as I went. So yeah, I didn't know what type of style I was, doing, but I just know in art, I didn't want to have any secrets. I didn't want to tell any lies. In job interviews, you're like, yes, I am a great worker. Yeah. You know what I mean? You put on this performance, but in art, I knew, like, my heroes, James Baldwin, on and on and on. They just, it's that fire that leads into that pen or whatever form of art that they're doing. And I wanted to, embody that. Like my mom, I think about my mom a lot. She had a lot of dreams. She escaped Mississippi at 14 by herself because she knew there was more. She escaped Mississippi and moved up north to Chester, Pennsylvania by herself on a bus or train or however she got up here. And I think about her a lot, all the dreams she had that was cut short when she was 29 years old from cancer. And I just think about her a lot, and that makes me brave. Before we start this interview, or before I walk into a job interview or whatever, I try to use that courage that she had, and I try to, put that on me. So me speaking into the camera that way, I would just try to embody what I think she would be proud of, So I was just trying to speak the truth. And the main thing in Midnight Oil, that film in 2020, I was speaking to my son, who wasn't born yet at the time. My wife was pregnant, and my daughter, who was about 6, maybe 6 or 7. I was speaking to them. So it was a direct conversation. I wasn't worried about all the entities that rejected me all these years. I was speaking only to them. Because if I'm speaking to them, like, nothing else matters. So that's why it was so personal. So towards the end of the film, it really becomes full circle as you see the change in me. As I start to meet the people in the neighborhood, it's really a conversation between me and them, and nothing else mattered. If this film didn't work for some people, or people thought it sucked, it doesn't matter. This is for my son, and so I don't remember my mom. When she died when I was 6, and somewhere I blocked it out to block the pain. And this is just personal. It was a personal message, like a time capsule, to keep them warm as they're dealing with climate change in the future and now. So this is a personal story. So that's why I'm holding the camera, just holding it to my face and just letting it bleed out. So that's why it's in that style. Number one, because I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kind of figured out as I was going. I said, I'm just going to talk to them in case if anybody doesn't like it, this is a time capsule for them. Because I wish my mom was here when 9/11 happened, when I was in college in Connecticut, and on and on and on. Everything's, I wish I could just hear her wisdom, so it's just a time capsule for them. So that's why it happened that way.
Absolutely. And your experience really shows through your pieces. That personal conversational tone comes through, not just for Midnight Oil, but it also came through for Quarantine Kids. And it makes us feel like we are a part of these stories. I just want to know, like, what was your experience having your daughter as your creative collaborator on Quarantine Kids, and like the inspiration for the project? How did it feel going through this story?
Yes, Bria was having a really tough time with the pandemic because my wife she's a pharmacist, and she's like, she cares as much as Fauci times 10. You know what I mean? Like, she's like really serious about this. And that's well-intentioned. She's trying to protect us, but protect Bria. But what are the unintended consequences of that? How are kids receiving that? So I didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do with Bria. Tried therapy. We tried all types of things. So one day, I'm in the kitchen and a light bulb went off. I said, why doesn't Bria I was like, here, Bria, take this microphone and go in your room. I've been teaching her about story, how to create story through Disney films for years. Like, what is Moana doing now? Okay, what choice did Moana just make? And why did she do that? Okay, what's the inciting incident? Things like that. So all I said was beginning, middle, and end. Because I told her every story has that. And she went in her room and told a full story arc. So what you see in the film is I didn't touch it. I didn't change anything. That's just her in one take. And it was just brilliant. And yeah, and then working with Bria on the film, she helped choose the animation, the music, things like that. It was great. It was really cool. It was really easy. I don't think her being so young, she didn't really understand. I mean, she knew we were making a movie, but I think it hit her at the Black Star Film Festival 2 weeks ago what it really was. You know what I mean? Like all these interviews, and it took her a while to get comfortable because at home she's like Tiffany Haddish plus Eddie Murphy, like all the time. Like she's a Leo, and she's always in my face. I can't finish any movie. She's dancing, she's painting, she's doing something. So, but I think that limelight of everybody, adults watching her, these cameras everywhere, it shook her a little bit, but she got her footing after like the third panel we were on or whatever. So yeah, it's been great working with Bria. I'm trying not to Joe Jackson her, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I don't want to, I'm not forcing her to do anything. Like, hey, Bria, how do you feel today? You want to do this interview? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to, try not to be that helicopter dad. You know what I mean? Like, just, hey, are you still enjoying this? Okay, we're about to do another thing. Are you ready? How do you feel? Because I'm still reminded how she felt during the pandemic, and I'm always worried about her mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I never had to worry about that until the pandemic happened. So I'm always conscious of how she's feeling, things like that. So,
I love how you're kind of naturally bringing her into the filmmaking world, and it sounds like she loves it. She's very personable. Her creative side really came out in the piece, just in her voiceovers. I personally really enjoyed it. And my mother's also a Leo, so I know everything about the large personality. It's great. And I kind of, just in terms of like how you are inspiring your daughter, whatever path she takes, what advice do you have for other aspiring filmmakers and folks who might want to get into documentary filmmaking?
I love this question. So don't wait on anyone. And my good friend Bettina has always been on me, like, just make something. You know what I mean? Because I'm always in my head. And Bettina is so prolific. Don't wait. I was waiting for someone to bestow upon me millions of dollars of equipment and money. But no, you're in Philly, this is an independent filmmaking, like, mecca. You know what I mean? You can do it. Get a bunch of friends and just do it. Like, my first 2 films were made with cell phones. Just my cell phone is something that everybody has. Get you a good gimbal, but make sure you know story. So there's the Scribe Video Center in West Philly. It's a place where you can learn script writing, editing, all aspects of filmmaking. There's Big Picture Alliance, you know what I mean? PhillyCAM, like there's so many resources here, but just do it. Don't wait on anybody. I wasted so many years waiting, hoping to be chosen, you know what I mean? And no, you got to go out there and just make it happen. And some of the people that were, there were people that were, you know, celebrating me with this festival and the one a couple years ago. And for years, just being honest, you know, on being an outsider, I thought I deserved more than I actually did. It's not, but something told me, no, you have to put the work in. Just because your grandma told you you was special when you was little, that don't mean anything. You got to put that work in, and don't think you deserve more than you actually do, you know? So yeah, just use what you have. If you have a cell phone, do that, but learn how to create a story, a beginning, middle, and end. And just put your foot in it. Like, no secrets. I don't have any secrets in my films. Like I was saying earlier, you catch me in a job interview, I'm like, yeah, I don't watch Netflix at work. But but on my films, it's gonna be 100%, you know, no secrets. If it embarrasses me, that's even better. You know? So yeah. So just go out there and do it. Don't wait on anybody.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing advice. And it also sounds like, just from our conversation, that sometimes sporadic moments just pushes you into your passion and pushes you into telling a story during trying times. So I really appreciate the story you told on Quarantine Kids and the advice that you've given folks to start their dreams.
Thank you.
Well, I do appreciate you joining us this evening. And I thank you. I think I have one last question. What is something, it could be like a one word or a quick phrase, that you wish someone would have told you early on in your creative journey?
Don't forget who you are. Like, if you're about to walk into an interview, a room full of lights and people recording you, if you're nervous, settle yourself, close your eyes, think about who you come from. We're all individuals. Everybody's different. Like I come from my father, I come from my mother. That's what settles me. So say, do not forget who you are. That's what I tell myself before this interview. And then it settles me. You know what I mean? I have something to say. I don't care if I'm in a room with a president or anybody you think is important. No, I have something to say too. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Bilal.
Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning into this episode. Look out in the coming months for stories from the second round of Community Reporting Fellows and more personal stories like the ones we talked about today. You can also watch our show on YouTube and Roku, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you next time.